Hey, Katya, how are you? So this is like really random and last minute. I know, like I didn't have this planned at all, actually. How are you? It's just me and you right now. Hopefully others will join us. But I got a little inspired this morning after I came in from running some errands. And I got this wonderful book from my friend Vanessa. She ordered it for me. We're about to do some cord cutting for myself and some stuff that I've been experiencing over the years. And so we're going to focus a little bit today on the importance of release and the importance of moving forward in relationships. And not necessarily relationships with others, but relationships with ourselves also. And I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on this theme of self-love that a lot of people think has to look a certain way and has to feel a certain way and be a certain way. And my personal belief on self-love is I think it's a work in progress. And I don't think anybody has like the right to kind of dictate what self-love looks like. So I'm going to explore that. We're going to explore it together. We're going to process it. And I also wanted to let you guys know that as soon as I get done reading this and working with Miss Vanessa, who is a Reiki master, I will be offering those kinds of readings and packages for you guys also. But it's probably going to take me a while. It's a pretty thick book. And I got a lot to do. A lot of work to do on myself before I can offer it to others. So we're going to just do a random read. I'm going to be using some different books and some different cards just to kind of talk about self-healing and the ways to move forward. And at any time, just leave a comment if you want me to cover something. I don't have all of the knowledge, but I can share from my point of experience of what I've gone through. And I'm going to use a little bit of past relationships and the ways that I thought were healing me, but they weren't. And a lot of times we think we've healed and we've moved on just because time has passed. And timing is not real. You know, for some, you can get over things within, a month or two. And for others, we seem to carry it around for a long time. And we can house it in different chakras. We can house it in different experiences. And it kind of makes me think of PTSD in a way, because certain things might trigger that behavior, right? So, for example, you were in a relationship and somebody was dishonest or disloyal. Happy Sunday. And you're with someone new and they're not doing the same thing, but their behaviors trigger something inside of you. And so you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go through their phone, or oh my gosh, this person's cheating on me. And they're not. And so you might revert to old ways of handling it, as opposed to saying, you know, the last time this happened, I did this and it didn't turn out the way that I liked it. I'm going to change my approach. And I think that's part of the healing process, is kind of taking a step back and saying, this didn't work. I'm going to try something new. Okay. And I'm a little emotional because this is what I have been needing for a long time. And I'm super excited and I'm so thankful. So we're going to start off. I pulled from the Sacred Sites card, which I love to use these in healing spreads. I like to use these in past lives and in relationships, because it gives like the past, the present, and the potential. And when I say potential, it could mean the future. It could mean 2 days from now. It can mean years from now, but it's a potential that you can reach. And this card signifies self-worth, and it's Chichen Itza. It's located in the Yucatan, Mexico. And at the bottom of the card, you see this is Chacmul. And in it, he has a circle. Thank you. And then they used to throw a ball through this circle, right? This was a game that they played. But it says, have you ever sacrificed your heart or given it away and it ended short of what you expected? So it goes right back to those expectations, right? So when we go into self-healing or when we go into relationships, we have this expectations that we have on ourselves, that we believe things should be a certain way, and they're not necessarily that way, right? And so then we might become a little bitter, disillusioned, or angry, and we just want to stop the healing process. So it says, for far way too long, you've laid down your desires, what you want, those items, you've laid them down for other people, right? Now, with that being said, it's saying it was our ability to set boundaries. And so interesting that I had found this post on boundaries that I put in my stories. And a lot of times boundaries look different for all of us. And so like there is no blanket that's going to say, this is what healing looks like. Hey, this is what you're going to feel like, because sometimes healing feels like fucking shit. And I'm not going to lie. There's times when you're going through a healing session and you're on the floor, you're crying, you're feeling things you've been repressing and pushing back. And that's what going through this circle is. So we think that we have to get everything in here perfectly, and that means that we're doing it right. If I can throw this ball in this hoop, I'm doing great, everything's going good. But is it? Because we're falling short, which leads us to the middle part. And this is not using our voice and not expressing what it is that we want, what we need, and what we desire. And we kind of push it down and we push it down. And if you understand your chakras, this chakra feeds into your throat, feeds into your heart. Okay. And so we're pushing it into our heart space. And when it's in our heart space, that's where we're really feeling, right? But we're not expressing it. And so as we're not expressing what we want and what we desire, then it gets stuck in our heart. And so the heart can't heal. And after the heart's been jam pumped with all these emotions that can't come out, we start pushing that down into our solar plexus. So now we don't even have the confidence to speak up for ourselves because we've pushed it down for so long, it's hard for it to come out. And so the potential is on this. It's pulling away from the familiar. And this is Kinghan at the top, the winged god. And this is saying, can you see beyond those fears? You know, can you see a little bit past what it looks like to be vulnerable? Can you see what it's like to let somebody know what you want without being afraid of rejection? Because when we put something out and we're telling somebody, this is how I feel about you, or this is what I'm feeling, and they say, I don't feel the same. That's their right to say that. We can't get upset. And that's them using their power and their voice to express that this is not what they want. So we have to make sure that we're mirroring the same thing. And the only way we can know is by expressing that energy and talking to other people. So that's why I pulled out this card for Chichen Itza. The crystal card that came out, I was going to do this for myself, and then I thought I would share this. I read that we have more nerve endings in our stomach area, and that's why, yes. And usually, like when you meet somebody, you know inside of your gut, like you already know, like, this is familiar and not the good kind of familiar, right? And yet we're like, oh, I'm just going to give them a chance and I'm going to go for it. And then you go for it and you're like, holy hell, like I knew it. I knew it all along. And that's part of growth and development, right? So Lapis Lazuli is, it's great for truth. It works with the throat chakra and your third eye because this part knows, baby, before this. Like we can intuitively see things. We just repress, all right? And it also helps us with psychic work. It helps us connect to Archangel Meikle. This is just great for discernment, great for knowing the difference and how to move forward. So I noticed that both cards were blue. The throat chakra is blue. And with that, it's going to be important for us to be able to open it. And when we work with our throat chakra, that isn't like just telling everybody, yeah. No, throat chakra work also means listening. It's connected to our ears, okay? This ear, nose, and throat specialist that you go to check all that stuff out, all of this is connected, okay? This is all connected together, and they work together. And a lot of times this is working, and this isn't. And so we're not hearing what people are saying to us, or we choose to interpret it a different way. So sometimes it's better to listen first, and then you'll be able to speak what you want to say, because then you have the facts that you can go from or the truth that you want to go from. So to lead this read, it's sound, okay? You just got it? What? I put on my story. I was going live in 30 minutes. I have a lot to do today, but I wanted to share this with you guys. So we're going to go with the sound card. And this is necessarily what I'm talking about. It's time to speak up for what you want. And this means like even like in friendships, guys. It does not just mean in relation and with family. And the thing is, when we talk about relationships, people often think, oh, well, you know, I'm not with anybody. You're not alone. You have friends. You have family. I need to learn to use your voice with them too. And I think I talked about this in my post, is like, we were trained, or at least when I was growing up, it wasn't polite if somebody wanted to talk to you and you weren't feeling their vibe as a little kid, to say, I don't feel comfortable with this, because you always had to hug everybody. You always had to, say hi to everybody and be this polite little adult, when that's not who you are. And I kind of got pushed to that test. We were in the grocery store. I'm going to share this with you. It was me and my 3-year-old. Y'all know she's very vocal. And I always tell my daughters, if there's ever a time that we're meeting somebody and you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to hug them or you don't want to stay with them, you need to let me know immediately. Because children are really good at feeling their vibrations, right? And I always tell them, like, if someone does something, you have to tell them to stop. I don't like that, and you make it very clear that there's no mixed emotions, no stop, but stop. Okay. I love her too. So we're in the grocery store and, we're just pushing the buggy, and this man is staring at us. And she was like, Mommy, she's so loud. He's looking at us. He's looking at us. And I was like, okay, I was uncomfortable because I could feel him looking at us. And it wasn't like just like a look. It was a very uncomfortable stare. And we've been having a lot of stranger danger in our area. And so she turns around, looks him straight in the eye. I'm so proud of her. And she said, stop looking at us. She was, I don't like it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And, I didn't want to correct her and be like, that's rude. I said, well, if you don't like it, you did the right thing. And I pushed her and we kept going. And, we got into the next aisle and I gave her a hug and I told her, I'm very proud of you for standing up for yourself. And, at that point, she looked at me and she said, he doesn't mean us very well. He's not good. She said, he's not good. And I said, okay, well, we're going to go and we're going to do our shopping and we're going to, forget that he's here in the store. At that point, we had another man around us that had noticed, and he was like, are you guys okay? Hey. And, he was like, I'm going to make sure that you get in your car. Okay. He was, I don't want to make you uncomfortable and make you think I'm following you, but I noticed the way that he was looking at you. And, I was like, okay. And so we're going shopping and I have this old man following me. Like he's my protector. And we run back into the same man who was staring at us. And my daughter said, stop following me. I was like, okay. And so at this point, I'm not laughing at the moment because I'm a little nervous. We just needed to get a few items and go. So we just ended up going. We ended up just grabbing our stuff and going. And as we got in our car, I noticed that the gentleman who said that he was going to make sure we got in our car went ahead and followed us out. And that man followed us out too. And so we got in the car, and I know not to go straight home, those kinds of things. But I just wanted to tell you, like, it's really important to trust those feelings, because I felt it too, but I didn't want to be rude and I didn't want to say, excuse me, sir, do you have a problem? But in those moments, if I would have corrected her and told her that's very rude to do that, then she would have known that when she has that feeling, to not trust that feeling, right? So we have to learn to trust those feelings in relationships with others and in relationships with ourselves. When we do things that we don't like to ourselves, we need to say, hey, I don't like the way I did that to myself. I don't like the way I'm talking to myself. I don't like the way that I'm treating myself. I deserve to be treated better, and I have to set the standard for myself. And so that's what this spread is very much about. So we're going to get into it with the tarot real quick. And we're going to explore what healing looks like for us today and for us that are here together. And I rolled a 4, so this is like a foundational way of looking at healing. And remember, as I'm pulling these cards, you might feel something completely different from what I'm saying, and that's perfectly okay. So as I cut the deck, the reason why I really need this read is because sometimes we feel like we're pouring into empty cups when we truly want to have this celebratory experience. And this card here talks about reward. And in order to feel the reward and in order to get that reward, we have to get past this feeling, right? This 2 of Cups reversed. And I feel like it could be our definition of love. It could be the definition that we've been fed for years, the definition that was given to us. And this is where we have to evaluate, what does love look like to me? Love may look very different to me than what it looks like to you. And so those are things that, as you're developing and as you're growing as a person, you can sit and journal them. You can sit and think about them. You can wonder, what would love look like in this situation, and what would love do? Because everyone's definition of love is extremely different. You know, I work with children who go through many scary experiences, which is one reason why I don't like to leave my kids with babysitters, one reason why I don't go out much, because I've heard stories because I'm a social worker. We have to empower our children, and we have to empower ourselves also. And so it starts here. It starts with a self-awareness, and it starts with trying to tap into ourselves and say to ourselves, hey, this doesn't feel good. Even if that person does love us and they are in our relationship, but if it's something that we don't like, we need to say it. And it's not about an argument, but it's about expressing, I don't like the way that I feel right now, and I want to talk about it. Not ignore it, not repress it, not push it down and hope that it goes away and never happens again, but I want to talk about it. Okay, so we rolled a 4. First card, I have a spirit guide. Second card, the 9 of Wands. Third card, the Ace of Cups. And fourth card, the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Okay? Overall energy is strength. So the reason why we need this read, and I'm going to look at the bottom of the deck. So this is some things that probably happened in the beginning when we started thinking about love, okay, and what it was. So we saw all these red flags and we saw all these things that perhaps were not for decorations, but to let us know something was going on and we needed to move forward, right? So 10 of Arrows, this is a lot of miscommunication also. Maybe saying something is okay verbally, but physically it wasn't, and you're holding on to it. So you're trying to start over and you got this new adventure, new relationship, new singlehood, whatever it is. You're excited. Everything's going great. You're all full of hope and wonder. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is so good. You know, and it's always so good at the beginning. And then something happens. You know, it's that heartbreak. It's that thing that we don't want to really say what's going on, but we're hoping that the other person understands. And how can somebody understand if your truth is personal to you? You have to express it to the other person. And so here we are. We're still in this relationship with ourselves or with someone else, giving half truths, half feelings. And you see her stomach. And usually this is a sign of pregnancy. But in here, I feel like it's all that energy in our solar plexus that we're just holding on to. But we're only telling half of the story right here, which makes us feel very restricted. And when we become restricted, I like to think of this as our emotional baggage, and we're going up this hill, and again, miscommunicating all these words, all these emotions, all these things that are going on, and we're just going up this big ass hill trying to hope that we get there, right? And then here we are. This is what needs to happen. This is the devil reverse. This is freeing ourselves. The donkey is a representation. He's known as the beast of burdens. And it's because this beast has been carrying so much. He has so much on him, but he finally decides to get free. The 2 serpents here represent Kundalini energy, and it also represents wisdom and knowledge that you've gained through your experiences. And it's not so much about being angry because you experienced those things, but it's about saying, wow, I really went through that. I know so much more now. We have to change the paradigm. We have to change the perspective. We cannot be angry with ourselves. We have to understand that each experience has shaped us for who we are and how we are here to help others, right? Which leads us to the strength to get through and to protect our home. And our home can literally mean our home, our children, or our bodies. All right. So let's jump into the read with the spirit guide saying, why do we need this read? Why are we in need of this? What's going on here? We're going to go with the tarot. And as I cut the deck, it's because we're ready for new experiences. The 4 of Cups reverse is significant of walking away from things that no longer serve us. Okay, the reason why we need this read is because we crave a new beginning, all right? There's a new beginning that we desire and that we want. And the Ace of Wands is about action, and this is the courage of a lion, the scepter of Ishtar. And you see, it's almost like a medical symbol, so it's time for healing. It's time to move forward, and it's time to shine light in those areas that need to come out. How fitting that the Queen of Wands shows up. This is the one queen, I feel like she's everything to me. I'm a fire sign. But anyways, this is almost like being in charge. You're in charge, but you have to find something of your equal, Okay, so it's a new beginning and everyone's bringing in something new to the situation. And whether it's a male and female relationship, whether it's just a female relationship, or whether this is even a partnership or a family situation, everyone needs to come in at the top of their game. They both have, she has her wand of action. He has his pentacle. They both have something to offer, right? It's a new beginning. And what the spirit is trying to tell us, or what your spirit guide is trying to explain, is you have the power to fight for what you want. But in this, you see how he has the head of the giant? And this is Gilgamesh. And Gilgamesh has this head. And it's like you have to get out of your own head. There is a lot to get out in relationships. And part of the reason of relationship is to help you grow. It's not necessarily to make you feel better. It's to help you grow. And I want to find the card that will help us work with this energy. So the Nine of Wands wants us to know... I'm sorry, guys. My allergies are extremely bad right now. For you to harness your mystic powers. And you see this beautiful cat right here? Cats are like, for me, cats are teaching us not to be codependent. Cats are so independent and they're super picky because like a cat won't let you pet them unless they want you to. And so this is saying you might need to fight for your space. But if you notice, she has like this ankh in her hand because she's creating something. He has something in his hand because he's creating something. So an extension of who you are is what you're creating. And this is telling you to harness your mystic powers, harness your energy, harness your voice. And we're working with the sound, right? We're working with expressing ourselves. I'll go with this deck. Thinker. Don't overthink it. If it doesn't feel right, hey, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And it comes to the number 44, which comes down to a number 8, which is communication and movement and travel and discussion. Okay? So discussion isn't just us talking, but it's also us listening, as I said earlier. So part of what your spirit guide is trying to tell you, or part of what the universe is trying to tell you is, hey, fight for what you want to create. You have the power to do this. Right? Don't overthink it. Good morning. You're going to get through this. Now, the advice that the universe or that spirit has is the Ace of Cups. And 2 aces in a read for me is significant of a great relationship. It can mean a long-term relationship. Things are growing in the right direction. The Ace of Cups is fertility, and it means something is being birthed. And it's also like, this is the Holy Grail, okay? So I feel like our spirit guide is telling us, look, I'm giving you this vessel, this beautiful vessel. This is our beautiful vessel, and it's full of love. When we look at the way a child loves, you can yell at a kid, you can do whatever, and they will love you. And that is unconditional love. And we can learn so much from our children. And so the Ace of Cups is being presented to you, and it's saying, hey, are you ready? Are you ready to enjoy what love really is? And sometimes we think, oh my goodness, you know, I love unconditionally. Sometimes I won't lie, I love with conditions. You know, even myself, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And I get really upset with the way things are going. But this is saying I still got to love myself through those things, through those decisions, because once again, they shape me to be who I am. Now, this is choosing your path, and this is the direction guardian. And so this is similar to the wheel, and they talk about this as the wheel of in Ezekiel that has the 4 animals, right? So we have this eagle-headed spirit, and that's for perception. We have to be able to see things from a higher power, from a higher level. Not so much just what's in front of us, but we got to look beyond what's in front of us, right? Then we have this beautiful bull here, very Taurus-like energy, and the bull is significant even in if you think about it, it's like the cow energy, very earthly, very motherly. It's getting grounded. We have to have a very sturdy position when it comes to love. And then we have the courage of a lion right here to move us forward. And those are these 3 aspects that are coming together into our cup to move us in the right direction, which the possible outcome is the 5 of Pentacles reversed. And with the Five of Pentacles reverse, or the Five of Coins, Five of Discs, however you want to say this, this is when Gilgamesh defeats the Bull of Heaven, right? Which they ended up, this is where he loses his best friend. So for some of us, we might lose something. We might lose a part of us. We might lose something that's been attached to us for a long time, but that it's been draining us. Because when the Five of Pentacles is reversed, it's significant to things falling together. This is when we're fighting and we're trying to get things a certain way and we feel shortchanged. And this is when it's all falling together. And so the Ace of Cups, the Wheel, and things falling together. And sometimes when things fall together, they fall apart. All right? And that's so we can rebuild it the way that we see proper and the way that we see fit. And it wants you to unleash the wild within. And it's so fitting. Look at this full moon energy. There's so much releasing that needs to happen. And as you're releasing and as you're developing, it's almost forgiving yourself for allowing that energy to happen, for allowing those things to happen. And not if someone abused you, okay? It's not like you're saying it's okay that that happened, but you're saying, I forgive, I don't agree, and I'm going to get through this. I'm going to survive, and I'm going to empower myself, and I'm going to empower others so that we can move forward. I know I love this card too. But using that full moon energy and using what the universe gives us to shine light on those situations that we've been repressing for a while. And once we've completed this, or once we get through this, it doesn't mean that the healing is over. It doesn't mean that we're never going to be hurt again. It just means that we're going to have the strength to carry on. And again, it comes down to the number 8. And 8 again is communication. It's transportation. It's moving on. So we're going to have the keys in order to move on. I know like there's a passage in the Bible where it says the kingdom of heaven is in your heart or something of that nature. We do have the keys to heaven in our heart. We do have that key inside of us, but it's a matter of searching for them. I don't know, like I lose my keys in the house all the time. So sometimes we might replace that key and we forget that we have it. And then we'll have a triggering situation that comes up that will make you remember, oh gosh, this is what I did in that situation and it really helped me. Or, oh my goodness, this is what I did and I don't like that result and I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do something different. So on a spiritual level, break the chain. So it's going to be important for us to understand that we are healing not only ourselves, but we're rewriting the future and we're healing our bloodlines. As we're healing ourselves, we're healing everything else. And that is why it's important to go through the healing process. That's why we shouldn't jump from relationship to relationship or situationship from situationship, because all we're doing is that eight of arrows reverse, where we have our bag on top of us and we're just going up this hill with all of these hurts and all of these pains, expecting someone to take them away from us. And that's the thing. No one can take it away from you. You have to be willing to release it. So one last card. And as you're doing this with yourself, be sure that you're being very kind to yourself and very loving, because you're setting that standard for how it's going to feel and what it's going to be like as you're moving forward. And again, I can't wait to share these things with you guys. And there will be some stuff that once I learn how to do it on myself, I will be working with you guys too. So does anybody have any questions or anything going on? This read is so what I've been through and the changes I've done to release and looking toward. It is hard to release, and it doesn't get easy. It's not easy. Oh, I love you too. Oh, you're welcome. I woke up and I was in one of those like weird moods this morning. I think it was because the energy is getting really heavy for me. This retrograde has helped me see so many of the roles that I played in cycles and in relationships that I'm just like, what is the common denominator here? I'm the common denominator, and I can't expect to keep going into relationships and friendships and partnerships with people and expect for them to respect who I am if I'm not voicing who I really am. So that's where this came from. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So just a reminder, for this week, I will be having spring sales. Videos will be $22.22. 2 videos will be $44.44. If you're interested in them, you can DM me, you can email me, however you feel like it. And also the weekly is up on my YouTube channel. Check it out. It's not perfectly time-stamped, but it's in sections, okay? Thank you guys for joining with me today and sharing your space. And hopefully we can go again live soon and we can answer some questions. Let me know if this helped, if this was beneficial. And have a beautiful Sunday. Be sure that you hug your family. If you ain't got no family to hug, hug your dog. If you ain't got a dog, hug your damn self, okay? Retrograde has been really intense. I literally had an ex who lives in another country. Oh, wow. Show up? What the hell? I guess there was some stuff that needed to be cleared up. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. You guys enjoy your day today. Have fun. I don't know what the weather is like over there. It's kind of gloomy over here, but be sure that you express some form of love, whether through a text, whether it's to yourself, whether it's through a note, to somebody and to yourself. All right? And take care.